Hola, friends and fam, and welcome to Ramona's Recovery Room. It's a whole new world up in here. A whole new world. That's how it is sometimes in recovery mode. You feel like you are on a different planet. It's really familiar, like you know places and you know things, but there's been a big shakeup. And while I say that I, having lost my mom around this time last year, feel the big difference in the world, thanks to a little something called the pandemic, most of us are feeling like it's a whole new world out there. One of the benefits of being a dementia caregiver, and I even found that this is true for one of my friends who cared for her mom while she battled ALS. There are some lessons that we learn losing someone piece by piece. Now, it does not mean that once the end is near, even though we know that their brain and or body or both, we really wish they could be at final rest. We might be wishing that, but we don't know how long this season is going to last, and it still doesn't prepare us for that final goodbye, even though we're kind of waiting on it. This was around the time last year when hospice had been called in for my mom. And when I first heard that H word, that's when I thought, oh, this is it. But then I'd seen other people have hospice care in their home or facility for months, a year. I just didn't know what to expect. And even though I've seen many people go through it, I simply didn't know what to expect after Mom passed. And frankly, I don't think I could even fathom what that felt like. But I can tell you what it felt like when I was struggling. And I can tell you the phases that I went through when I was struggling. And the first one was recognizing the health changes and thinking that we just keep kind of piecing her back together. Seeing her slow down a bit, seeing her change physically, seeing her change emotionally, seeing her personality change even before the diagnosis was really interesting. Like for my mom to be on my radio show in the world of Wheezy, talking about how it's nice for a man to be a cunning linguist. That's my mom, the teacher from Hawthorne Junior High School and Piscataway High School and Buckeye Middle School. What? The world of Wheezy that people heard on the radio, that was a whole new world for me. I never thought my mom was funny or racy. What? She was the buttoned up teacher. It was a whole new world. And man, I wanted to embrace the part of it that I could hang with as a girlfriend, but then there was another part that was just falling apart. And then they started falling apart at the same time. And struggle means that there's something going on that you can't fix. But inside, you want a fix. You want a fix for it. You aren't like, let's Google it and see if there's a YouTube video showing how to keep your parent alive forever. Well, then I'll try it on the dog. You know, that was my struggle. The natural course of things, you know, a whole new world, circle of life. Disney has been trying to teach us this forever. Disney's been killing off parents forever and showing you how the kids bounce back. But until you get to that point, you think you've adjusted to a whole new world when your parents first ask you to start fixing things like, could do something with my phone. Help program my computer. Do something with the TV. This Roku doesn't work. And then you go into a second phase of it as you really see them slowing down. And then some of us caregivers go through different phases of letting go as well. But after the struggle, which means, okay, comes the new normal. And the new normal changes again and again and again and again. What I think many of us, well, I believed, was that the new normal was a one-time thing. We'll do this and then we'll do this and we're good. We'll do this and we're good. For a little while. So we can't get our expectations up. Some of these things that we're doing are just good for the moment. There are constant readjustments that have to be made. Constants. Once you accept the new normal, then you accept another one and another one and another one and another one. And some of the new normals, like a parent not knowing who you are, not being able to walk anymore, being incontinent, some of those new normals are really, really painful to deal with. But we have to learn to deal with them, because if we haven't dealt with them, then that other new normal that comes when we finally say goodbye is way too overwhelming. Now, there is a part of this that speaks to not just how you treat yourself, but how you treat others. Because once you get into that mode of, okay, I can't fix it, but I can show up for it. And that I can show up for it part, that comes from a place of true giving. Giving without expectations at all. Once money and property and who's in charge. Whew. Once those things get in the way of the relationship between you and your loved ones and the other people who love your loved ones, it takes you right back into the struggle. And there's enough struggle without adding to your struggle. And every time you see yourself starting to go, and recognizing that, you have to recognize why you're struggling and then decide whether you want to keep living that way or if it's time to make yet another adjustment. Sometimes the adjustments are big. Sometimes the adjustments are a little smaller. But how you see those adjustments determines whether it's a mountain or a molehill. Because in the end, what all those adjustments allow us to do is peacefully let go. And that's the goal. Peacefully letting go. Because if you're violently, woefully holding on to something that isn't there anymore, is not going to be like that anymore, then there's absolutely no way that your arms will be open to accept what's new. And there will be new things. But if you believe those things will always be bad because of what happened over here, then Ramona, you're in your own way. You are in your own way. How do you peacefully let go? When you get to the end, you have no regrets. When you get to the end, you have coping skills. And when you get to the end, you have faith. You have some faith. For me, it takes having faith in something that's bigger than Ramona, because the feelings of grief that have been so painful that my body ached, that I was fatigued from being up in my feelings 24 hours a day, that level of loss, something I had never experienced before, bigger than me. So for me, it takes someone other, some things other than me to get through it. And if that's you, I hope you reach out sooner rather than later. Right now, it feels like our entire world has been forced to peacefully let go of the way things used to be and moving toward a whole new world. And this transition is going to be as hard as we make it. So, remembering with gratitude, remembering together with someone who can appreciate those memories that you'd like to share, and sharing your hopes for the future with someone who would like to hear about your hopes for the future. The key to peacefully letting go for me. I am going to be taking Wednesday off. Wednesday, the 24th of August, is the anniversary of Mom's death. I'm going to a prayer meeting, the same one I went to the day she died. And I'll be praying that in some way I can inspire people like she did, teach like she did. And I will be thanking God for all of you who've offered words of encouragement. The waitress, when we went to eat at Harper's in South Park on Sunday, who said she would never forget Wheezy. Oh, we never forget. We remember with gratitude when we learn how to peacefully let go, sometimes bit by bit, and sometimes very suddenly. That's all I've got for this week, kids. I'll see you next week, right here, 1 o'clock, in Ramona's Recovery Room on Facebook Live.